Does what it should.
It says you are live. So in theory, we're live on YouTube.
I think yes, we're on YouTube for real.
Yay! Hello, YouTube. There's zero people watching right now, but I'm sure there's people going to watch this out. Hi, my name's Wade, and this is
Bethany.
I gotta point over there.
I know it's all backwards.
I know. Apparently, this is how like Muppet performers have done this for years, where they watch themselves when they're doing Muppet stuff.
Let's do it all mirrored.
Yeah, and so when they, so they have to kind of get used to the mirror version. I don't know if they have adjusted that since the days of Sesame Street and the Muppet Show, but that's what I remember hearing. Well, welcome, Bethany. Welcome to my channel.
Thanks for having me in your corner of the world.
Yes. If you haven't met Bethany Votaw, she has a wonderful channel where she talks about her writing journey and also her adventures as a freelance editor. And so today I asked her to come onto my channel. She was very gracious, and last week I was on her channel. We had an awesome chat. So we're going to talk about writing. We're writers talking about writing. And and then we're going to try to do a creative writing experiment in the second half of the broadcast. So Bethany, in case there's anybody watching my channel that has not met your channel, tell us a little bit about what your channel is and your writing and your editing adventures.
Well, mostly my videos consist of just simple tips, tricks of how to elevate your writing. I do a lot of live editing because I know a lot of people are struggling to self-edit. And then it's just adventures of me writing my full-length novel, and then I work on a lot of shorter pieces for a collection. So it's just updates on those, but I really have enjoyed getting some stories from subscribers, and then I get to edit it live on the internet for the whole world to see, just so people can see my process and hopefully apply it to their own writing. So that's mostly what I do.
Cool. And one of my favorite videos that you posted recently was talking about your mistakes that you've made in the publishing world.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You should send. I'll put a link down below after we publish this so that you don't have to retell all the stories. But they were fun, exciting adventures. I could definitely relate to some of them. But I thought what was cool was that you've published some short stories. And so what are some of the short stories that you've had published? What was it? Were we talking about like magazines, literary journals? Like, tell us a little bit about your experience.
Yeah. I have a couple in just some magazines, like everyday flash fiction type thing. So they take a lot, so it's not the hardest to get it accepted into them. I have a couple anthologies, and I'm working with a couple of groups right now for an anthology as well, 2 different anthologies. So it's fun. Nothing wild and crazy, but some online magazines and blog stuff. So it's always exciting, big or small, getting that like, oh, hey, like we like your stuff, we want to use it. So
that's cool. Do you feel I'm sort of biased about having things in print, and that might be very old-fashioned. Do you feel just as excited if you publish something online versus publish something in like a print?
Whenever I get that email of like, oh, hey, congratulations, we accepted it, I get so excited that it's that same excitement. And then when I see, oh, it's for print, there's just something, it feels more immortal. Like, I don't know, it just feels like, like this is like a thing that I can hold, and the internet's not going to randomly delete it and be gone for the world. Like, I know like it's still there somehow, but I don't understand the technology. So it's definitely, I think, more just this new level of excitement for print, but depending on the magazine and like what they're paying, I could get on board with.
Yes. Right? Yeah. The money probably generates more endorphins than worried about it.
Oh, the first time that I got paid, it was like $8, but it was like, I'm a professional author now. Like, I got paid. Like, is that like, this is the height of luxury? Like, how exciting.
Yeah, it's weird. It's thrilling to do. Well, if we got 2 people watching us right now, I think if anybody has a question for Bethany, please go ahead and leave a comment. And I'm technically inept, so I don't know how to do the cool thing where you put where it appears all of a sudden. but I will at least read the comment if any comments come up or questions. So what genres are you playing around with? I know a little bit about this, but in case people haven't watched your channel, what genres are you playing around with now for your upcoming projects?
So Tracker is my like full-length novel, but it's going to be shorter, novella size, and so I'm not sure if I'm going to publish that within another collection. I digress. It's a adult fiction. It wants to be literary fiction, but it's not. But then I also write a lot of shorter stuff, which is more horror, supernatural, darker, which is like surprises so many people because I hate scary movies. I don't like the corn mazes and stuff, but it's just I find myself drawn to writing the creepy and weird.
So you don't like creepy and weird movies. Do you like creepy and weird books and stories?
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
reading The Diving Pool right now, which I'm not gonna butcher her name, but it explores the like psychology behind why people do what they do in a story, like in a story, and it's just really eerie and creepy. And I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. Those like goosebumps that the author makes me have. That's my goal. I want people to get kind of weirded out, which is like different from my actual personality.
Oh, it's different from your actual personality. Well, that's good. Yeah. I think there's probably lots and lots of probably millions of people that are very, very, very nice people that are interested in reading about whether it's crime fiction or horror fiction. We're sort of curious about the mindset. Or what I like about both horror and fantasy is I like reading about impossible situations that are realistically depicted. That's very fun too, because to me that's sort of the height of a writer's imagination, when they can take this situation that can't happen, but you're reading it and you feel like, wow, this really happened. They're really in Narnia or whatever.
I have a ton of fantasy ideas that I would love to pursue, but I'm really working on just making my craft better and stronger before I even jump into that world. I'm so intimidated by fantasy. My goodness. Don't know how you do it.
Well, I'm intimidated by the descriptive level is what intimidates me. But the more I read modern fantasy fiction and science fiction, the more I find that there's not really a lot of overblown descriptive, right? There's a lot of world building, but it's not necessarily paragraphs and pages of descriptive writing. And I think when I was in college, I thought, if you want to write fantasy, then you have to write a 50-page description of a castle. But people would get very bored if you did that. So
I'd be bored writing that.
Yeah. So I remember when I was reading Hunger Games for the first time, I was expecting like a whole bunch of descriptive writing, world building. But since it was first person with Katniss, she doesn't want to explain things very much. And so you just get really little hints of what the society is like from this teenage girl perspective. And she's not a descriptive person. So I think if you have a first-person narrator, then you're kind of off the hook. And
got some flexibility.
Yeah. Let's see. One more thing before we start our game. Tell us a little bit about your life as a freelance editor. What kind of services do you render? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. I want to know what you do. I want to know how much you charge. And I want to know, for anybody that's watching this that's maybe never had someone paid someone to do editing, basically why should they do that? What's the advantage, and is there any disadvantage? That's a lot of questions, but
yeah.
I'll let you go.
I offer copy editing and line editing. It's usually a combo. I can really tailor my services to fit what people need, because I am contracted by a couple of independent publishers, nothing major, just for a couple of recurring projects. But for independent authors, I find that they need something so specific just for them. So sometimes they need just a copy edit. Don't do any edits. Don't make any developmental suggestions. They just need a copy edit and are done. Some people just want me to read their book and give them overall feedback, and that's more of a developmental edit type thing. A lot of people just want a copy edit mixed with a line edit, because I tend to add some developmental stuff, and I always provide a sample so people know what it's like. Charge-wise, it's very different depending on the project. So for something that's a little bit more clean, I can usually charge half a cent per word type thing, but something that requires more than 3 passes to be clean, it's upwards to 1 to 2 cents per word. And so that's also why I need a sample before I even accept that, is because I need to know kind of what I'm working with, because how I budget my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into editing because I started editing academic papers, and then that turned into fact checking for science fiction. And then those publishers wanted to hold me for other fiction. So it's just interesting how I got into it. And working with an editor can be a little intimidating. Kent, Sean, and I are actually collaborating a little bit to show people what it's kind of like. And it's just, editing and writing are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like some people think like, oh, you're a good writer because you're an editor. And it's like, no, like I'm a very rough writer, and I have to rewrite. And then eventually I can get my editing glasses on and look at my page objectively. So an editor will just give you a leg up, an extra push when you're way too close to it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, and I'll include a link to, you have a website, right?
Yeah. Ow.
We still have it, or has everybody switched? Oh, I got to turn on my computer. It's making noise. All right. Well, speaking of writing, are you ready to play this creative writing game, this experiment?
Yes, I'll do my best.
Yeah. We're going old school. I got my journal handy. You got your spiral notebook. Oh, you ripped off a page. Oh.
Yeah.
Yellow pad of paper.
We're a clean, fresh page here.
Excellent. Okay. So if you're just joining us, we are going to practice writing dialogue. I often write plays, and the nice thing about writing a play is that you could tell a whole story that could last 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it would only be about maybe 10,000 to probably 20,000 words.
Just so weird to think about. Like looking at it, it's so weird.
And it's mainly because it's just dialogue and maybe little bits of stage direction. Depending on who the playwright is, George Bernard Shaw was infamous for having long, descriptive comments, in between the dialogue. But I usually keep my description very short and let the director decide what they're going to do. So we're going to choose. Now, Bethany, do you want to choose? Should we randomly choose a location or a relationship between these two characters that we're going to write about?
Let's go with location.
Go with location.
Yeah, we can do both.
Let's see. The location is a storage locker.
Oh, okay.
We're going to storage locker.
All
right. So do you want to be this is going to be very much like improv, where we're not going to censor ourselves too much. We're just going to see what we come up with. So would you want to be the first character who speaks, or the second character?
I'll be the second, I think.
All right. Okay.
Actually, no, I changed my mind. I want to be the first. I want to be the first.
That's a good. Yeah, whoever talks has a lot more control. So
yes.
So okay. So I'm going to brainstorm and be open for who knows what's going to happen. Go ahead and tell me when you got the first line written. Oh, and give your character a name as well. And if you want to do any description, you can, but you don't need to.
Oh, man, I write in cursive. Good luck.
Writing some questions. Oh.
All right.
Already ripping out a page.
What?
You're already ripping out a page.
I know. I realized, oh man, I tried to print, but it turned into cursive. Sorry.
That's okay. You can read it out loud for us.
Perfect. So my character's name is Graybeard.
Great.
And he said, "How do you open this thing?"
All right. How do you open this thing? Graybeard. All right, my turn. Okay. My character's name is First Mate Skippy,
Perfect.
and he says, "The combination's your birthday, remember?"
And then Graybeard says, "Nope. Should I try yours?" Getting a whole story over there.
Yeah, it's not a whole monologue, but let's see. I'm scratching some. I doubt that'll. Okay, so Skippy says, "I doubt that'll work, but you can try it if you like. You do remember my birthday, don't you?"
Yeah, that made me feel awkward. All right, mine is, we'll just cut the lock. And then I did the stage directions. Pulls out bolt cutters, cuts lock. Now what's inside?
Okay. Stage direction. The storage door opens up. It's dark inside. Skippy completely ignores the door opening up and just stares at Graybeard. "So it's true. You forgot my birthday. June 13th, otherwise known as today."
Man. And Graybeard says, "Which is why we're here, old friend. This whole thing in here is your gift."
I like it. I like it. And Skippy says, "Oh, Captain Graybeard, I'm so sorry I ever doubted." And then there's a growl from inside the dark storage locker.
Uh, Graybeard says, "Funny, I didn't know mermaids sounded like that. Looks like they could use a bigger tank, though."
All right, Skippy joyfully says, "Oh, at long last, a mermaid double date with my best friend. Oh, thank you, Captain."
Okay.
I think this is very realistic dialogue. This is a good exercise for both of
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. You write middle grade, so it's fine. Anything goes, right? And Graybeard says, "Maybe we should just try the next locker."
That's good. Let's end that scene there.
Like it. Man, that's tough. It's fun, but man, thinking on the fly.
Well, and what was tough about it for you, do you think? Because
Um,
it's happening so quickly?
that and like like I don't know, I kept finding myself trying to anticipate what you were gonna say, but everything's so out of left field that it can be anything.
Yeah, so and again, that's kind of what the improv is about, right? That you don't know. Like when we got the storage locker, I didn't know. I had no idea what would be in the storage locker. And at first, for a while, I didn't want to. Like, I liked the idea that I guess they are pirates or sailors or whatever, right? But I like the idea that the first mate was upset about, like, you forgot my birthday,
Yeah,
and then you
that was
turn that
cute.
around. I like how you were uncomfortable with having a character that was a jerk, I guess.
In the hot spot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, no, this is for you. I brought you this.
Look at
And then
that.
when I made the growling sound, so that it was something that was kind of treacherous or dangerous, I'm like, that's just mermaids.
Make growling sounds, you know, as mermaids do.
Yeah, well, they could. I think the
We don't.
mermaids from the Pirates movie,
They
they're
might. Those are scary. Yeah.
so one of the now I guess one of the things we should probably talk about for anybody that's watching this looking for how to write dialogue, we should probably say that there's a lot of different styles of dialogue. And what we have been doing, because it was script writing technically, but if it had been, we were almost writing something that would be better suited for a radio play, because the characters were saying more exposition than we would need in a screenplay or even a stage play for the most part. What's your favorite or least favorite part about writing dialogue in fiction?
I loathe dialogue. I hate writing dialogue because I tend to just assume readers can pick up on like nuances. And
Mhm.
so I would prefer just to like show them what's happening, the readers what's happening, versus like pause for dialogue, where some people are like, oh, I get so much information packed in dialogue, and I need to work on making dialogue move the plot forward more.
Okay.
And I
Um,
can't show emotion in it very well.
That's interesting. It's interesting that what you're saying, because when I'm writing dialogue in fiction, I'm trying to avoid doing what we were doing, where it's like, hey, the lines of dialogue are informing what's going on a little bit too much. And I guess I'm more interested in using dialogue um, for characterization, to get to know the characters more, because I feel like in real life, how do we get to know people? We judge them by their actions, but aside from that, we learn a lot about them from just talking with them.
I can fall into the trap of my dialogue turning into a mini flashback where the character will like suddenly just unload this like backstory, and it I need to make it sound
Oh, you're
natural. And
frozen
then
on
I
my screen.
overuse dialogue tags so much in my first draft. Like everyone is sighing, everyone is huffing, everyone is like exasperated. Like, and then when I edit, I have
Yeah.
to go through and be like, oh, this is not gonna work.
No, when I've been editing to go off so I feel comfortable with dialogue for the most part, and I'm mindful of the tags of doing those not doing that too much. But I use a lot of adverbs, uh, after a dialogue, or like after a dialogue sentence or a dialogue tag, and I probably use too many of them. So I'll say he cheerfully replied, instead of just the words indicate that he was cheerful. I don't need to have that. So that's what I'm kind of on the lookout for when I'm editing my dialogue.
Yeah, I have to
And I'm
read mine
trying to make
aloud
the
a lot.
characters sound different.
That's tough
Yeah.
for sure. For sure. No, because I've done the whole thing where you remove all the dialogue tags and you should be able to pick out the speakers. Uh,
Oh, okay.
that's very eye-opening when they all sound the same and you can't tell which character is saying what.
Mhm.
It's, your voice needs a little bit of work. Guilty, guilty.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say? So the novella that you're working on, where I think we already talked about this in our when you were interviewing me, but are you thinking of traditional publishing, self-publishing? Have you decided what you want to do with it?
I think the plan now is to self-publish, depending on some feedback and editing and what some of my editors will say. I'm almost tempted just to release it as an ebook, for like a free ebook, just to get my name
Mhm.
out there for something longer. But the thought right now is self-publishing unless I find like the perfect agent or something, which I'm not opposed to traditional publishing, but I think for this book, marketing wise, size wise, I'm just gonna have better luck self-publishing.
That's cool. And so do you have a time frame yet, or you're still in
No
the
time frame. I think my hope is next year in 2021 to release Tracker in the first part of the year, and then my collection, my like creepy collection in the fall, probably October of 2021.
nice,
So,
good choice, good
yeah,
choice.
I'm not in any rush, so I'm in the second editing stage, and I'm actually gonna order a proof of the book for my dad to alpha read because he cannot do the whole online PDF, or if it's loose leaf pages, even if it's bound, dude gets confused. He needs it in a book. But I
Okay.
really value his opinion, so I'm excited to get to that stage just so I can see what he
I bet
thinks.
that's just when he just wants to see the real. He wants it to feel real.
Probably. He wants to know what he's getting into, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Bethany. Well, thanks for playing along with me, and thanks for being on my channel.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Just before I let you go, what do you have coming up on your channel? What do you have videos in the queue?
I just posted one today talking about, oh, it was the feedback one about, I went through a live thing of, I wrote a piece of flash fiction, had some friends critique it, and I just wanted to show the world that critiques are not scary and what I do with them. And then keep on the lookout for a couple of videos from Kent, Sean, and I about our editing. I'm editing a piece for him, and he's kind of showing like what it's like to hire an editor. So
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Great. Yay. All right. Well, thanks, Bethany. I'll see you around YouTube.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.